I really do feel like something's missing in Halloween these days.
And maybe it's just because we're old. We don't.
Yeah.
But there is an air of innocence to it
and that's why
hardened.
It frustrates me so much. Yeah, when people
Hardened.
when people post stuff on Facebook about Halloween is evil, Halloween is celebrating devil, Halloween is, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of times when I see people post stuff like that, it's old people that don't even have kids at home anymore. It's like, back in the 70s and 80s when they had kids, they celebrated Halloween. So I don't know what it is about, but it's like in the whole time that you ever celebrated Halloween, did you ever think of the devil? Like when you decorated and went trick-or-treating, did you ever think of the devil? Did you ever think about death? Did you ever think about evil?
Only when I watched Disney's Halloween Tree.
Yeah, so it's like that's kind of what, like, I don't understand where all this, because back when we were doing trick-or-treating, I don't remember people being so down on Halloween.
Welcome to the Bookish Introverts Podcast. Join host Amazon bestselling author Brett Nelson and avid reader Melanie Dyer as they dive in to review books they've read, then chat with the amazing authors behind them. Quiet minds, big bookshelves. You don't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, it's Brett and Melanie. Welcome back to another book talk. Well, at least I think we're Brett and Melanie. Are you Brett?
Well,
I'm pretty sure I'm Melanie.
I think today we might be something other than Brett and Melanie.
We might be something other than Brett and Melanie.
This is our little homage to Halloween.
Yes.
Our little episode and I know I'm just going to get this right out in the open. When you live in the Christian community, there's a lot of people that frown on Halloween.
And that's fine.
They have lots of stuff to say about it.
So you do you.
Exactly.
I like costumes.
So, yeah, hopefully people will just look into the fun of it, So anyway, like I was going around trying to figure out what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, because I don't typically dress up for Halloween. I mean, it's been years since
I don't either, actually.
I'm usually the type to just turn on the light, hand out candy, and watch a Christmas movie while I'm doing it. Like that's my Halloween. Because by the time Halloween rolls around, by the time Halloween rolls around, Hallmark Christmas movies are on full blast. Yeah, which I totally support. By the way, Hallmark, don't stop doing that. So I finally landed on last year. I was a pirate. My friend Christina and I, we went to her house and we went out and had dinner with her parents, and then we were pirates. So that was kind of fun. So cool. Yeah. So, and we're going to do it at her house again this year. And so she was like, well, she said, I think I want to be something beside a pirate this year. So she's some kind of, I don't know what she's going to be, some sort of like fairy princess for on one of the Disney movies. But it's not like Tinkerbell. It's like, or something. Anyway. So I was like, yeah. So I'm like, Sleeping Beauty. No, it's like one of the new cartoons. It's like one of the new ones.
Anna?
Oh, you know what? No, it's not. It wasn't like. I think I
need to know
if I haven't erased all of my messages, all of my text from her.
Sorry, y'all. I have to.
Melanie has an inquiring mind. Oh, it's this lady right here. I don't know who that is. Do you know?
Oh no, that's the fairy godmother from Shrek. That's not Disney.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I mean, that's how much. That's how well I know my cartoons. Iconic. Yeah. So that's what she's going to be. So I decided on a steampunk vampire. Which is kind of
steampunk,
and I had no idea what steampunk was. I just
so basically to use a lot of brass and copper and
exactly. Basically, to me, it's basically like an elegant vampire, kind of like a Victorian vampire, maybe. Yeah. And looking at the pictures, so I went and looked, and I was kind of looking at. I don't know why, but in my mind, when I thought of steampunk vampires, I kind of thought of Interview with a Vampire. I haven't seen that movie, but I've heard of it.
I haven't either because Tom Cruise is in it, and there's only certain things I'll watch with Tom Cruise.
Well, and I kind of got over Tom Cruise during the pandemic because he was like mean to people on the set and he was rude and I'm like, okay, I'm over Tom Cruise.
Top Gun Maverick's amazing.
Although I did have to see Top Gun Maverick. Yeah.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. That was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, so Brett decided he was going to be a vampire, and then when we started talking about this, I was like, so I texted him, I said, do you want me to go goth? He said, yes, go goth. And that was my first idea. And then
Yeah.
it just sort of evolved. And I was like, but I want to sparkle. I want to be like princessy. Costs money to be princessy.
It does.
Y'all.
Not
It's
that, but yeah.
so much money for a costume. Like, yeah, no, y'all want way too much. And I don't really look princessy. So
You
I came
definitely
up with
look goth.
I came up with a mashup of just kind of generic in my mind. And then this morning it all changed because I was putting this headband on to hold my hair back while I washed my face. And that's when it came to me. I am the daughter of a vampire and a Christmas elf.
Okay. I like
So I have
a
my
mishmash of
Christmas
Halloween and
headband
Christmas.
and my Christmas light necklace and my Christmas t-shirt that is from like 8 Christmases ago. It's so old, but I dug it out of my I can't believe I knew exactly where it was, but and I had my my red lipstick. So I'm a Christmas elf, but I'm kind of a dark Christmas elf. Genetics are great. But I wanted to sparkle. I wanted to be pretty in my pretty little headband and my Christmas light. And I'm not a dark person. I need sparkle things.
No.
I need sparkly things.
We need sparkly things.
I had this wig I was the Wicked Witch of the East. Several years ago at work, we did a Halloween thing, and I had this wig from being the Wicked Witch of the East because I'm a huge Wicked fan, and I wanted to wear the ruby slippers, but I'm not really Dorothy. So the way to wear the ruby slippers was if I was the Wicked Witch of the East.
Oh, there you go.
Now I did do a green face, which in Wicked she's not green, just her sister's green. But you don't know anything about Wicked, do you?
Not really.
Yeah.
Other than Kristen Chenoweth played something in the Broadway version. Yeah.
She played Glinda.
Oh, she played Glinda. Okay.
Yes, Glinda. And Idina Menzel played, or Adele Dazeem, however you want to refer to her. She played Elphaba. Gorgeous music. That was my introduction to Kristen Chenoweth.
Really?
Yes.
Kristen Chenoweth, if you're listening, we love you.
Yes, we do. We love you very much. I've seen her in several things since then. I like her in all of them.
If you ever want to come on the podcast and go, we will let you.
Sure.
Because, in every movie she's in, she has to hit at least one high note.
She has to sing a little. She was in The West Wing, which I love. I love The West Wing.
Oh, and that's why I need to watch The West Wing. I've never watched it.
She's in one of the later seasons, and she sings, but she doesn't do the note thing.
That's a sacrilege.
She does sing, though.
I have never seen anything with her in it where she didn't hit at least one high note.
I saw her in RV I think she was in RV with Robin Williams.
Oh, Mom
sure
watched that
movie.
a few months ago.
She sings. I can't remember if she sings, if she hits the note or not.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Well,
Rabbit.
I'm sorry, but I cannot watch a movie with Christine Chenoweth in it where she doesn't hit a high note. That's just wrong.
That's your loss, because aside from a couple of scenes, RV was a pretty funny movie. There were scenes I could have done without. But,
well, I mean, that's the case with pretty much any movie. But
I don't like gross out humor. That's not
not
my cup of tea. Can't stand it.
I could do without that. I don't find that humorous at all. By the way, you are fantastically pale.
I'm fantastically pale when I'm not wearing makeup, so
when you add a little to it, yeah, I probably should have done that. But
super pale, especially under these lights. I'm very, very pale.
Yeah,
this might be what I would look like if I didn't put makeup on under these lights on a regular day.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, I just remembered. What do you think?
Oh,
are these steampunk enough, or no? Or no?
I like them.
What do you think?
Get those?
Yes or no? JeepersPeepers.com. Jeepers Peepers. Whenever I tell people that, people are always like, oh, Jeepers Peepers or Jeepers Creepers. I love that movie. I'm like, no, not Jeepers Creepers, Jeepers Peepers. Peepers as in Oz. And
I like them.
Yeah, they were crazy expensive, but they're cool. So
they are kind of cool.
Yeah, it's expensive to look cool.
It's funny.
And I'm not a cool person, so I need all the help I can get.
It's it's funny because with this headband, it's a little like a Snow White thing.
Uh-huh.
You know me, Snow White is my least favorite Disney princess. I can't stand her. Can't stand her voice. She gets on my nerves. She rhymes every time she talks. Drives me crazy. So,
and you just turned off half of our listeners. Thanks a lot, Melanie.
Hey, I appreciate the film. I appreciate the accomplishment, and I like most of the music. But I'm sorry, no,
just can't get into
her voice. Drives me nuts.
Uh-huh.
Now, no offense to the voice actress, because again,
she was playing a role,
groundbreaker there. But yeah, if I would rather be Snow White from Once Upon a Time, if I could be any.
If you could be any version of Snow White,
any version of Snow White, that's my version of Snow White. I love her; she's amazing.
Okay, well maybe you could be her next time.
Always and forever.
So let's talk about Halloween for a minute. I don't know about you, but I have, as we said, a lot of people are very against Halloween.
Yes.
And if that's your true choice, that's totally fine. Everybody can do their own thing. But I don't know about you, but like when I was young, we always did Halloween, and like something is missing in Halloween these days. I miss the nostalgia of like 90s Halloween.
Yeah.
Have you noticed how
it's too commercial?
Well, it's too, like I can remember when we were young, of course we weren't rich, so a lot of times we didn't even have store-bought costumes. We would, do you remember those old molded plastic tacky Halloween masks that were made out of plastic, and then you kept them on with the rubber.
Now, man.
Exactly. If you are a 90s kid, you can smell it as we're talking. And yeah, so like they were held on with a rubber band on the back of your head.
Rubber band.
And sometimes like that would be like we would wear that, and then depending on what we were, like I can remember being a hobo one year and like a cowboy one year. Mm-hmm. So like, but that was just so much fun, and then like we would go out, like I can remember we would go out, we would go trick-or-treating, and like kids would just be running down the street all over the place. Yeah. Yeah. And that doesn't happen anymore. No. Nowadays it's all trunk or treat and fall festival, and it's like, okay, and I get
the safety thing.
Yeah. I do get that. But it's just not the same. Yeah, it's like, and I've even seen, like, I'm not on TikTok, but I've seen, I do a lot of YouTube, because I like longer content, like these little bitty, diminutive, 5-second long videos. No, I don't. That does not do it for me. I need substance in my videos. Like the longer the better. If I can find a 2-hour long YouTube video, that's my jam.
Okay.
So like. And I don't remember who it was that I ran across. It was not somebody that I usually watch, but they react to like the stupid people on TikTok. And I'm not talking like just the people that do stupid things, like
just people that aren't smart.
Yeah, just people that are, that don't act smart. Sure. They just do things that are not smart. So anyway, they were actually doing one about people, and they were actually lamenting. It were people like us that like grew up in the 90s, and they were sort of lamenting like the sizzle is gone out of Halloween now, and that's kind of what they talked about back in the day, like the kids, like they would just run the streets and they're like, we have done that, and so like, and of course now they're kind of like us. They're if they don't have kids, there's really no need to go out on Halloween, so they sit at home. And so like the fun thing to do when you're our age is to hand out candy and have fun with the kids that are coming to the doors. Well, kids don't come to the doors anymore. And they're like, I just missed, like I would love to have kids come to the door, and it's like,
yeah, we bought 2 bags of candy last year. Or no, I think I bought 3 bags of candy last year, and all assorted candy. They weren't huge bags, but they were,
yeah.
And I think we had 2 kids come.
Same.
Stuck with all this Halloween candy.
Yeah.
I don't need this candy.
Well, me either. I mean, I did eat it. But
I think it took us. I think we still had some
left at Christmas.
Left at Christmas. We'd have family over. People would take some candy, and A friend would come over and they'd take some candy.
I went over to my friend's house that had kids, and it was like, here, have a handful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember. I never. I think I was about 12 or 13. I remember going out on my own with my cousins. That was the only time I went out on my own. My mom was always with me every other time I went out. We went walking around their neighborhood, which, of course. But yeah, I remember dressing up. I was a princess. I was a witch. I was Dorothy. I was a gumball machine. I was. I know there were more, but I can't think of them off the. Princess and witch are pretty standard for a girl growing up.
Yeah. Were they store-bought costumes, or did you kind of like making your own? Like even like when kids come, like when you see them today, and you can tell they clearly have a homemade costume. I'm like, those are still the coolest costumes to me.
Yeah.
Like they are so much cooler than store-bought.
I think I don't know if my Dorothy costume was homemade or not. My mom was not a sewer. I can't remember if she made that or if someone else made it or if we got it. It wasn't as easy to buy costumes back then as it is now. Now you can just order them off Amazon or there's, Spirit of Halloween.
Yeah.
But the witch, I don't remember either, but the princess, I had a dress that my grandparents sent me. It was, I don't know if Grandma bought it or if someone gave it to her and she was like, oh, Melanie, here's something for her to play dress up in. But it was pink with white lace and just, absolute frilly.
Every girl's
I think it
dream.
was a little girl's flower girl dress at one point, and they knew that my grandmother had a granddaughter about that size, and I think my mom still has it in her closet, or in the spare room closet. It was a beautiful dress. I adored it, and I think Mom just got me one of those pointy hats with the veil that hangs down in the back.
Oh yeah,
no, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was about to say that's the face of a boy in the 80s who did not care anything about it.
It's those pointy hats that they wore in 9 to 5 in that one scene where they were kind of
she got me a pink one, but I think that's what I wore as the princess, and then the gumball machine. I may post a picture of it. I have a picture of it. I may give it to Brett.
Yeah, give it to me and we'll post it.
Mom made that one.
I asked Mom. She doesn't have any. We don't have any Halloween pictures of me. But
yeah, Mom made that
as
one.
A kid.
It was brilliant. It was cardboard and aluminum foil, a dry cleaners. Like the plastic they put over the plastic over the clothes.
Yeah, protector bag.
Yeah, and balloons. So you'll see that.
Send a picture and we'll attach it. People listening won't be able to see it, but the people that watch it on YouTube. So
so
which leads me to, if you listen to us and would like to watch us, check us out on YouTube.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
the book we read, the story.
I just kind of miss the nostalgia of Halloween.
I do too.
I really do.
I do.
I really do feel like something's missing in Halloween these days.
And maybe it's just because we're old. We don't.
yeah.
But there is an air of innocence to it
and that's why common. It frustrates me so much.
Or maybe it's just because
when people
old and
when people
hardened.
When people post stuff on Facebook about Halloween is evil, Halloween is celebrating devil, Halloween is, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of times when I see people post stuff like that, it's old people that don't even have kids at home anymore. It's like, back in the 70s and 80s when they had kids, they celebrated Halloween. So I don't know what it is about, but it's like, in the whole time that you ever celebrated Halloween, did you ever think of the devil? Like when you decorated and went trick-or-treating, did you ever think of the devil? Did you ever think about death? Did you ever think about evil?
Only when I watched Disney's Halloween Tree.
Yeah, so it's like, that's kind of what, like, I don't understand where all this, because back when we were doing trick-or-treating, I don't remember people being so down on Halloween. Now, and I'm not discounting. Bad things do happen on Halloween. There are bad people that do bad things on Halloween. But guess what? That's 1.111% of the population. 99.9% of the population, it's a fun night.
Yeah.
It's a fun, innocent night where nobody thinks anything evil.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, to me, it's a fun, nostalgic time from childhood.
See, I just remember always watching, there are two things I remember clearly from Halloween. One was the Halloween specials. Disney had the Disney's Halloween Treat, which was like maybe an hour and a half of Disney shorts that were about, there was a short where Mickey and Donald and Goofy are trying to get rid of a bunch of ghosts in a big house. And there was one, of course, one of the sections from Fantasia was in there, the Night at Bald Mountain section, and just on the darker side a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a compilation. And then you had, of course, the Charlie Brown Halloween.
Yeah.
So it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. The Great Pumpkin flies through the air with all the toys. And
yeah.
But you got to find the sincere pumpkin patch.
I do love the peanuts.
Yeah.
It's a pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
And then my all-time favorite was Garfield's Halloween special, which I now watch every year on YouTube.
I don't remember watching that one. I'll have to look it up.
Man, it's scary. I can't believe I watched it as a kid, because I'm watching it going, oh my gosh, how did I get through this? Because my imagination, as active as it is now, it was doubly so as a kid. And I mean, it did not take much to scare me at all. Yeah. I was so easily scared. I'm shocked that I watched that as much as I did, but I did. We recorded it. We eventually got a VCR and we recorded it one year when it was showing, and I watched that thing on repeat all the time. We recorded all the Halloween specials and Christmas special. But yeah, Garfield's Halloween Adventure was right up there. And I was so happy when I found it on YouTube a few years ago. I was like, look,
I'll have to check that one out. I don't remember. The Flintstones had a Halloween one that I can remember liking. I always liked the Flintstones.
I remember the specials, and I remember there was a year we lived right next to the first house I can remember. We lived right next to my school, and my cousins would come over, and they had a Halloween carnival. So we're dressed up, and we go to the school, to the gym, at this Halloween carnival, and there's all these games and face painting, and there was a cakewalk. I've never been in a cakewalk before. I've only been in a couple of sets. But
I remember school cakewalks.
I did a cakewalk, and I won. I won a German chocolate cake. It's really good.
Which is the worst cake in the world, next to carrot cake. I don't like coconut.
Oh, you don't like coconut? Yeah, if you don't like coconut, you're not going to like
I like coconut flavoring,
but you don't like, it's the texture.
Yes, I can't. It's like eating hay.
I got you. I love coconuts.
I've never eaten hay, but if you could eat hay, I would imagine that's what the texture would be.
It would taste like, I get that. I get that.
I'm like, when you're doing baking, do not put raisins in, do not put nuts in, and do not put coconut in. Those three things are just...
What are you going to bake?
Anything that doesn't have ZO3 in it.
But I have a picture. It's in my office, actually. I have it in a frame in my office of me and my three cousins. Oh. And it was the night of that, after we got home. And my cousin was a mummy that year. I remember, because he was
I love mummies.
I feel like was it ace bandages, or was it toilet paper, or a mix of both? I can't remember, but we'd all had our face painted. Oh, Lauren was a ballerina. I remember that. I don't remember what we all were. I was probably that might have been the year of it was either Dorothy or the Gumball Machine, one or the other. But those are the two things I remember most, the specials. And then that one year we went to the carnival and I won a cake.
Yeah.
First time I ever had German chocolate cake.
When I was in school, you remember in school, we used to have Halloween parties. Usually the Friday before Halloween.
We had a Halloween parade.
Oh, fun. Well, when I was in school, I was in school in like the 80s and 90s. And so there's this one girl, her name's Ashley. In fact, she's one of my beta readers for my books. So I've known her for years. Her mom did ceramics. And like she would paint us these little bitty, they were just little bitty trinkets really, but they were ceramics. And like every year, like one would be a ghost, one would be a jack-o'-lantern, and like they were just cute little Halloween themed. And I wish I still had those. I don't know where they've gotten off to, but I can remember the class always got so excited at Halloween because, you know, of course we would have all the baked goods and the Halloween cookies and like schools, of course, nowadays you can't do that either because, you know, 20 out of the 30 kids in the class are allergic to nuts. So.
It's true.
So anyway, so that's, So anyway, like, I have so many fun memories. Yeah. I'm so glad we grew up in an era where the judgmentalism of Halloween was
at a minimum.
Yeah. It was very rare. So I feel sorry for kids these days.
Yeah.
First of all, that just don't get to experience Halloween the way we did. You know, you have to go to a church or a shopping mall and just hit it all in one place. So, which there is the fun in that because you do have the games and the fun little stuff like that. So there is a place for that. I'm not knocking that. That is fun. But I just kind of miss. So anyway, So that was I thought that would be fun. Before we get into the books, I found some little Halloween trivia things. Not really trivia, but like
fun facts.
Fun facts. Yeah. So I thought we might sort of read a few of those here and there throughout. So I don't know if you guys do this or not, but it says 1 in 5 adults usually pretend not to be home on Halloween. A 2021 YouGov poll found that about 1 in 5 adults I'm sorry, guys, I don't have my glasses on. 1 in 5 adults keep the porch light off and pretend not to be home when the trick-or-treaters come knocking.
I've done this.
Have you done that? I have done that. No, and I'm not as like to me, like my brother, like when we lived at home, when we got too old for trick-or-treating, my brother loved being the one to hand out the candy. And I'm like, I never have really enjoyed it because I get tired of saying, oh, don't you look cute? Oh, don't you look cute? Oh, don't you look cute? Yeah. So, So now that I live by myself, I have to suck it up and do it. But
then you'd be mean to a kid.
What?
I said, you could just say, wow, that costume is horrible.
Well, I could.
It should be a shame.
I could, but I don't want to be that neighbor.
No, I want to be that guy.
Exactly. I mean, I'm probably a lot of people would say I'm old and cantankerous, but I like to think I'm not quite there yet.
It's just cantankerous.
Yeah, I'm just cantankerous. You want to read the next one? We'll do a couple and then maybe a couple in a later on.
Okay, so this I knew. I actually saw this earlier in the week. Trick or treat was not necessarily the original phrase children would shout out to receive candy. Instead, kids would allegedly yell "Belsnickel," and that might be Belschnickel. I don't know.
I love that word, by the way.
According to the Library of Congress, historians argue that the modern call originated from Belsnickeling, a German-American Christmas tradition where kids dressed in costumes and went around to their neighbors to see if they could guess the identity of those dressed up. In some versions, if the adults couldn't accurately guess, the children were rewarded with treats and goodies.
Okay. All right, we're going to start a revolution. We're going to stop staying trick-or-treat. We're going to start staying Belschnickel. Belschnickel, yeah. So kids, when you go trick-or-treating this year, trick-or-treat is old news. We're going to start saying Belschnickel.
I don't know that you're going to get much traction.
I'm not giving anyone candy unless they say Belschnickel.
Now you're going to be the old and cantankerous guy.
I am.
Yeah.
I may as well just embrace it. Okay. So tell them the book we chose this year.
Okay, so I did, stories.
And we chose a different book than we said we were going to last time.
Yes.
We were going to do a fall one, and I really wanted to do a Halloween one, themed one, but it's so hard to find Halloween themed books. Angela Ruth Strong has one, but since we had already done the fiance finale, I hated to do hers again. So anyway, for the last month, I've been reading cozy mysteries centered around Halloween. So do you know what a cozy mystery is, basically, kind of?
Yeah.
For those that don't know, cozy mysteries, they're mysteries, but they're fun mysteries. They're not intense. They don't have profanity. They don't have dirty scenes. Usually they're lighter fare. And sometimes they're even nonsensical, a little bit silly. Like they're just not
Yeah.
they're not going to keep you up at night. They're just good, clean, fun, but they're not for everyone. They're not for everyone because they are a bit silly and nonsensical. And if you really have to have the ability to let down your realism. That's not the word I was looking at, but you really can't look at it as nothing in the book is going to be realistic. I mean, in one of the books we read, it had a talking cat, not a talking cat, but it had like a cat that was helping them solve clues, and like the cat was like telling people who the murderer was, not through talking, but like through. Like it would go, and we'll get more into. But anyway, it's like it's sometimes it's things like that to where you really have to be able to just let down the realism of it and just enjoy it for the silly read it is. So, what did you think of like? Was this your first time to read a cozy?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I'd ever read what you would call a cozy mystery before.
See, I like to read them.
My experience with mysteries, like I said before, extends to and then there were none by Agatha Christie, and then I watched a few mysteries, Death by Murder, Clue, mystery comedies.
Clue was the one with Tim Curry.
Yes, yes,
and I love that board.
And of course, I played Clue.
Yeah, I love that board game. And it's okay if it wasn't for you. I'm the one that chose this one. I switched to this one midstream because I was like, okay. And the reason I chose this book, it's called The Halloween Cupcake Murder. It's an anthology of 3 cozies, and it has 3 different novellas in it. And the reason I chose it was because one of the authors, I read one of their books for the first time last year and loved it. So that's why I chose this one.
Which one did you?
The Liz Ireland.
Liz Ireland.
The middle one, the candy corn caper. Yeah.
That was my favorite one.
What were you going to say?
No, I only got through 2 of them, and that's my fault. This whole thing got pushed up a week because of my family plans. Thanks a lot, Stephen. So I only had time to get through 2. Brett was much more studious than I was, and he read all 3. But I didn't manage to make it all the way through the 3rd one. I apologize. I'm sure it's very, very good. I did start it. But it just it didn't work out for me.
Didn't work out.
It's not happening.
Sometimes that happens.
But I enjoyed them. The second one more so than the first one.
That was my first. That was my favorite one.
But it's probably because of the subject matter.
Yeah, themes in the first one.
The first one is set in Ireland, so you'd think I'd be like, oh my gosh, which I love Ireland. That's second on my list of places to go if I got to pick anywhere to go. So I enjoyed the fact that it was Ireland, and you've got your Celtic influences going on there. It works for the subject matter for sure. Yeah. It dealt with a couple of things I wasn't super comfortable.
I agree.
With. And it not heavily, but it dabbled, and I was like.
And the first one is called Halloween Cupcake Murder by Carlene O'Connor. So the whole book was that's the title of her book. So Carlene O'Connor, and that book was that's not the typical cozy mystery, because I was taken aback by it. Like, I did not like some of the subject matter in it. It was just it was dark. It really kind of dabbled in the occult a little.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Not a lot, but enough to make me uncomfortable. So I was not a fan of this book, like, at all. To me, it was a 3-star read. It would have been a 5-star read if the author had taken all. If she had followed the guidelines of what a typical cozy is, but she kind of deviated from it.
It was well written. She's a good writer.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. She's a good writer. There were just a couple of things in it that was like,
Tell us a little bit about what it was about. Okay,
so it's an American woman named Tara. She is now, her uncle lives in Ireland though, so she is of Irish descent, but she was born and raised in America. She has come back. She has gone to Ireland. She has opened up a shop selling sort of an antique shop.
Yeah.
Like we would call an antique shop over here.
Yeah, basically, yeah. She called it a salvage shop.
Yes, architectural salvage shop. I don't know what it's called, what things like that are called over in the UK, but sorry, in Ireland.
Totally different things.
Sorry. By any chance someone Irish is watching this, I apologize.
They are mortified that you called them the UK.
I am so sorry. I know better. So it's pretty mysterious from the start. She's been there a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
She has a boyfriend, who's your typical Irish lad, I suppose. Has a relationship with the locals. The what's it called? The publican. The guy
publican.
that owns the pub.
Yeah, the publican. I had never heard of a publican.
I looked at it for so many publicans.
Yeah.
Thought we were in Ireland.
Is that? No, I just thought that was an Irish thing. I thought that's why I'd never heard of
publican. Publican.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It dawned on me you idiot! It's the guy who runs the pub, of course. Publican. This is the technical term.
That's where pub came from. Yeah.
She's got a friend. She has established relationships. She's still the new girl in town, but she's not like the new girl in town. Mm-hmm. She goes to, I think her uncle hooks her up with this shop owner. Mm-hmm. She's never met him, who also specializes in
he's a curiosity shop.
Curiosity shop. So
Val Sharkey.
She's going there to find maybe some things to sell at her shop and also decorations, mostly.
Yeah, and she was looking for sort of off the trail, not your typical ghost goblins.
Yeah,
she wanted something
different to decorate up her shop for Halloween, because Halloween's in a week, I think.
Yeah,
at this point
it's like a week away in the book. Yeah,
winds up buying this painting that supposedly depicts the very first Halloween, a slate painting.
Uh-huh.
And
okay, I wasn't sure what a slate painting is. Does that mean like painted on slate? Is that kind of what you?
I didn't look that up. I think so. That's what I took it to mean.
Me too. That's kind of what I assumed. Slate is a type of rock, so I just thought maybe it was painted on slate.
That's unless it's some sort of slate.
If we're wrong and somebody knows the answer, let us know.
I'm not an artist, as you can see. So the shop runner, Val Sharkey, he's an odd duck, and he's talking to her, and she what was it? He said something about, do you like cupcakes?
Yes.
Just out of the blue, random, and she's like,
and that's the main theme in all these books. Cupcakes is the theme of
cupcakes, bakeries,
yes,
treats, which makes me hungry.
Yes. I should have stopped and got us a cupcake.
So he gets her this invitation to sample a free cupcake from Galway Bakes. Mm-hmm. Which every time I read Galway Bakes or Galway Bay, I just said the song popped in my head, and I had to pause for a minute because I was going through the song in my head. I love that song.
I didn't know it was a song.
Galway Bay? You don't know the song Galway Bay?
Sing it. Girl, you sing in church. Although we don't want a copyright strike, so.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty old song.
Oh, is it? Okay.
If you ever go across the sea to Ireland, it may be at the closing of your day, to sit and watch the moon rise over Claddagh and see the sun go down on Galway Bay.
Never heard it.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Look up Michael Crawford, Galway Bay.
Okay. Michael Crawford, that's the guy that played the Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Oh,
you haven't seen that? I'm sorry, y'all. We're going to have to talk about that later. I haven't seen his concert. If you haven't seen his concert,
no, I haven't.
We'll discuss later. I
know he played the Phantom in because there for a while, like when the movie came out, I went through a phase where I was like obsessed with Phantom of the Opera, and I even went when I lived in Oklahoma City, I saw like an off-Broadway version of it, like a touring company version of it.
Yeah.
So like I went through a time when I was like,
you seen the 25th anniversary?
No.
I cannot take him down this rabbit hole right now. So we'll be here for hours. Okay.
Stay on track.
Book.
Otherwise, this is going to be a 3-hour long video.
So she gets this Galway Bakes invitation.
But she has to send an email.
She has to send an email, but he sends the email for her.
Yes.
He sends the email for her, and she's like, well, okay.
And then throws the invitation away.
Yes. So she's leaving, a person in a mask.
A green mask.
Green mask.
And a cape.
A cape.
Yeah.
Comes in as she's leaving, and he's carrying a box. And then she
just assumes that he is the recipient of a free cupcake.
Oh, well, it says Galway Bakes on it. She sees that the box says Galway Bakes as they pass. And she goes off and, I don't know, sits at the pub for
gets a cup of coffee.
Does her thing.
Wastes an hour.
Yeah. And then she's walking back past the shop again and hears this loud crash. And then the masked form runs out and disappears. She goes into the shop and finds everything in disarray. Val is dead, which surprised me because not knowing what cozy mysteries are, I was like, wait, someone dies?
Somebody always dies in a cozy mystery, but it's never gory, and death usually happens off page.
I thought it would be, like, who stole the cupcake?
Oh, no. Yeah, there's almost always a death in the book, a non-graphic death, and there's almost always a female person that's trying to solve the crime. It's hardly ever a male, and usually there's an animal of some sort involved. So, which there wasn't in this one. So, yeah.
Wasn't there?
Was there? Maybe there was.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
So, of course, she reports the murder. But, of course, being the last one that saw him alive,
And, of course, she does have a lot of on because he was wearing a green mask. Yeah. Which you would think a person in a green mask he's pretty easy to track down. But, oh, no. Somebody in town is selling them.
Yes.
And, everybody in town had to have this green mask.
Yeah, he had ordered them to give to, I think, staff. During Halloween, but they sent him 100. Yeah. There was an ordering mistake.
Yeah.
So he's just been passing them out to customers.
Yeah. So so everybody in town has this.
At least 100 people have this mask, if not more, because obviously you can order them online.
So guess what? If you have a green mask, you're a suspect.
Yes. So she's prime suspect number one.
Yes, because the person that finds the body is always the suspect. Yeah.
And
so if you ever find the dead body anywhere, don't call the police because you will be a suspect.
Just run or faint. That's probably what I would do.
I'm just kidding. I'm not advocating for if you run across a crime, report it.
No, let it go. So she does notice, that is important. She notices that there's a set of pumpkin carving knives.
Yes.
That are missing, that were on the counter when she left.
And they were kind of upscale. They weren't cheap stuff.
They were fancy, not great value pumpkin.
And he tried to sell them to her.
He tried to sell them to her, but he'd already tapped her out with the painting, which she bought for $500.
$500. Well, 500 euros.
It was less than that. She wouldn't pay that much, so he brought it down. Yeah,
I think.
I don't remember how much.
She still paid a lot of money for it. I don't know what I'm not sure euros compared to dollars. I'm not sure how many US.
I'm not either.
Yeah, but she paid several hundred euros for it.
But
I think it was euros.
At this point, this is when she finds out that the detective tells her there is no such company as Galway Bakes.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm thinking, in a small town, how could they not know? But apparently it was a new bakery or something. Yeah. That was how it was explained.
So she does a little investigating of her own, and sure enough.
Another thing that kind of... Okay, hold that thought for a second. She leaves and she buys her painting, then goes off, comes back an hour later. When you're committing a crime, do you spend an hour in the crime scene before you leave? To me, that felt a little weird. I'm like, if I was committing a crime, I would go in, get out, and leave. Because it did say she was gone for about an hour, so that means the guy was in there for about an hour, right?
But at the end, it turns out it was
someone else.
Yeah.
Okay. See, this is why we cannot read anthologies anymore. I can barely keep the details of one book straight.
I'm having a little That's why I'm looking at this. So I'm having a
Yeah.
hard time remembering a whole lot of it because I enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
I liked the second one so much it kind of pushed the details of this one out.
Yeah.
Of my head.
And we don't have to do it exhaustive on this. But yeah.
But the and the invitation wasn't there anymore. The one that
the invitation was gone from the trash
invitation
can.
was gone. So now she just looks crazy.
Yeah.
Like she's just making up names of bakeries.
Yeah.
And she suspects the publican because he played cards with Val. And he possibly owes him money. And he has orange icing under his fingertips, which it's Halloween. But that's okay. Her uncle verifies that the painting is good, but it is not the original that Val said it was. It's not hundreds of years old. It's well done, but it's not old, and it's pretty, so it has some value. But
and then her aunt, who is was she a psychic or something?
Her uncle's
girlfriend.
I think girlfriend. Okay. I'm not sure they're married.
Okay,
but yeah, she's like some sort of psychic,
some sort of medium, and she looks at it and she goes, "Oh, that." She recognized the scene in the painting. It was some sort of cave. And apparently the cave is a portal to...
Buffy, anyone?
It's a portal that opens up on Halloween and allows dead spirits into the world. Or into their... Something like that. And that was the part of it. Like when it got down to that point, that's when I really stopped liking the book. Because I'm like... I didn't like the thought of a portal and dead spirits coming in on Halloween. Like it was very, I just didn't like it.
So I don't want to say this wrong, but apparently there's a couple of different pronunciations, whether it's
the
Ireland
festival
or Scotland. Google is telling me that in Ireland, Joan, that doesn't seem...
It's like the festival of Samhain or something like that.
Samhain pronunciation comes from people just saying the word, and Samhain comes from a man who didn't even speak Irish. Okay, that's not... there is no V in the Gaelic language. I did not know that. So MH is pronounced as V. So it would actually be Savin. Okay. Savin.
I had never heard of it.
I'm sorry. I love the language, the Gaelic language. I love to listen to it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I have trouble
verbalizing it.
I can't. I can't. I would love to, but I can't. I apologize. So
if you're Irish, we're sorry. We're not.
We're American and we like to ruin foreign things.
Yes.
So
we say everything phonetically.
Just in the interest of speeding things along. She discovers there's this mysterious group of 6 people. She later finds out they're called the Samhain 6. Mm-hmm. And this is what the painting is depicting, is 6 figures going into this cave. You can't really see them there. You see them from the back. It's the cloaks. Mm-hmm. And it's a secret cult. And according to this uncle's girlfriend or uncle's wife, Rose, they would be very interested in this painting that she's gotten her hands on, especially if it's original, which she knows it's not, but they don't.
And also when Tara got the cupcake, there was a bronze key in it, and apparently they're after that key too.
She gets a cupcake.
But they don't know who has it.
Yes. And she does get a cupcake, but she doesn't eat it because she thinks it's poison because Val's cupcake was crumbled all over him. So
and he had icing on his mouth.
Yes.
Looked
so
like
she thought maybe, he was poisoned. He was poisoned. Yeah. Which is fair.
That's a valid assumption. Yeah.
And she gets a telephone call that says, "I have passed the torch."
And she's like, "What torch?" Yeah.
Such a sweet offering that answers within. So that's why she tears into the cut, because it's this chocolate cupcake with red and orange icing that looks like a fire.
It looks like a fire. Which sounds like a cool cupcake.
It does sound like a cool cupcake. I tried to envision it in my head, and It looked pretty cool. I'm thinking like
cool.
Olympic flame.
Exactly. Yeah.
And coffee. You might.
Yeah. So yeah. So she the people that are looking for this key, they know that somebody has, because apparently Val Sharkey, he's the guy who got killed. He had this key and he ran into the bakery and hid it in the pan of cupcakes that were about to be baked. So nobody knew where. They knew it was in one of the cupcakes. They didn't know which one. So anyway, yeah.
So she's got, and she winds up meeting these 6 people, and they're all a little odd in their own way.
Yes.
Very strange in their own way.
Yeah.
And there was one that was kind of charming, and I was thinking, oh, is something gonna, because she's been back and forth about this boyfriend of hers, mostly because he seems to be commitment free,
Yeah.
She doesn't know if he's really interested in her as a serious. She's cool with being in a serious relationship, but she doesn't know if this is really his type of thing to settle down. So I didn't know if maybe we were headed down a road where she would become interested in this other guy. That's not where we went. There wasn't time to go there.
No, this is literally like a 115-page novella, so there's not a lot of room for character development and story development.
So they find out that the woman who initially invited her to this meeting of these 6 people, they find out that she owed Val money from gambling, so she has a motive for murder. Joe bakes the cupcakes, but he swears up and down, and I think he has an alibi for not. He didn't know a key was in one. He didn't, Riley is the one that I thought she might get interested in.
Yeah, but usually in cozy mysteries, there's usually not a huge element of romance to them. Yeah. It's usually just all about solving the crime. So that in a normal story, that's probably where it would have gone. But in cozies, you're typically not. There's not a lot of romance in them.
Yes.
I mean, there may be people interested in each other, but that's not the focus. It's all about the mystery and figuring out who did it.
Yeah. So then she finds out, oddly enough, that Val, who's never met her until a few days ago,
the day he died was when she met him,
has left her his entire estate. She comes to find out that he owed her uncle money.
Yeah.
And her uncle said, well, just, you can owe my niece, which nice uncle. Yeah. Very kind of him. But it does not, it went in a direction I didn't expect. I can't remember. There was a grizzly bear involved, a stuffed grizzly bear.
Yes.
That was in Val's shop. And apparently he won that from a big oil guy. Very rich man. Won it in a card game. And that's not the only thing he won. And the son of this man is not appreciative of that. And that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. If anyone wants it, it's a really interesting read.
Yeah.
There were a few things that,
and I will say this is not Christian fiction.
No, it's clean, but it's not.
Yeah. And this is why I like cozy mysteries, because it doesn't offend my sensitivities with profanity and dirty scenes. So it was a cute little book, a cute little novella, but I just didn't care for the occult themes that she sort of wove into it.
No, I wasn't too keen on that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Now, for people that read, a lot of people they might be like, oh, this is nothing. And probably compared to a lot of books that have occult themes in them, it probably is very minor, but it was such a departure from what a normal cozy really is that it really took me off. Melanie even texted me and she's like, are you creeped out by the theme or something like that? And I was like, yeah. I said, it took me by surprise.
In my opinion, tarot cards and fortune telling,
you'd stay away from that.
You don't know what you're messing with.
Yeah.
It could be perfectly all innocent. It's kind of like a Ouija board. It could be all innocent.
but I'm staying away from all that.
Don't crack that window.
Exactly. You've
That's-
got to
that's
be
my
very
opinion.
careful. You got to what you allow into your life.
You can play and dabble, and you know you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to say anything more about that book?
No.
So
No,
yeah.
I did enjoy it. It was fun. I liked being in Ireland.
Yeah, it was fun. I gave it a 3 stars out of 5 just because it was a cute book. I took a couple stars off because I didn't like the themes in it.
Yeah.
But if stuff like that doesn't bother you,
yeah,
you probably would enjoy it. It is a clean read.
Yeah.
So, okay. So before we go into the second book, I thought we'd do another little piece of interesting. Did you know there's a reason that black and orange are the colors most associated with Halloween? Do you know why?
Is it because of those nasty candies and the black and orange wrappers?
Exactly. No, not really. The Library of Congress reports that the colors of black and orange trace back to the Celtic festival of Samhain. Oh, so we were just talking about that. There's this festival of Samhain, however you pronounce it, a Gaelic festival marking the end of the harvest season and beginning of winter, or the darker half of the year. This black represents the death of summer, while orange represents the life of the fall harvest. So that's where the black and orange come from.
Now you know.
Those nasty candies with the black and orange, those can go back to where, along with candy corn. Those are disgusting. Like, if you give those out at Halloween, you hate kids. I'm just saying.
Oddly enough, I will eat them every once in a while.
Are they kind of peanut butter flavored or something
They're
like
a little
that?
bit of a nutty flavor.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a less tasty bit of honey.
Yeah, yeah. They're just kind of gross. I don't like
Much less tasty, but
Yeah. Tell us another trivia fact about Halloween.
trick-or-treating has existed since medieval times.
Okay, when are
era.
medieval times? Is that like the 1700s?
The era, not the eating place.
Yeah. Is that like 1700s?
No.
Oh.
Medieval. It's
That's all right.
earlier.
You don't have- I was
It's earlier
just-
than that.
You normally
But,
know eras, so I just thought you might know off the top of your head.
1700s would be, for us, colonial times.
Oh. Okay. You don't have to look it up.
I know. I want to know, though.
Oh, okay.
Taking candy from strangers one night a year and one night only isn't a new or uniquely American tradition. It was once known as guising in Scotland and Ireland. And
You want me to
people
read
dressed up in costumes and went door to door looking for food or money. I'd take money.
Yeah.
In exchange for performing songs, poems, or other tricks. So they'd be a bard for a little bit. Today, the tradition has morphed into children getting dressed up and asking for candy. Hardly anyone sings for their mini Snickers these days, but I'd say thank you. You should make the kids sing. Make them sing.
I'm saying.
That's what I say. Make them sing.
So, like, do you make them sing, like, any song, or is there, like, a specific song, I wonder? Like, is there a Halloween song that they used to sing? I mean,
I don't know.
Can they just sing Boot Scoot and Boogie and get some candy?
I'd give a kid candy if he sang Boots From 476 AD to between 1450 and 1450.
Wow, so I don't.
So a big era, but
Yeah.
I knew it was long. I couldn't remember.
So that was back when knights were a thing.
Yes. That's when you're talking about knights and their ladies' fair.
Yeah. All right.
And it's interesting we brought up candy corn because here we are to
Yeah.
the second story,
Yes.
Mrs. Claus and the Candy Corn Caper.
By Liz Ireland. And this is the one I was talking about earlier. I read one of her. She's got a whole series of books. It's about Ms. Claus, but they're all centered. She's American,
Yeah.
and her husband is Santa Claus.
See, there was a mention somewhere in there about another character, and I was like, this sounds like there's more to the story.
There is, yeah.
So
There's a whole series ahead of this
books.
book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and like,
Potential.
I read one last year, and they're all it's basically Mrs. Santa. They live in Santa Land or Santa Town, something like that. And the whole series is her introducing Halloween to Santa Land, because all the elves and everything, they're like,
Okay.
course, they're like what you normally see depicted in movies. They're all about Halloween. They're all about Christmas. They're all about Christmas cookies. They're all about Christmas decorations. They're all about snow. I mean, they're kind of like me, obsessed with Christmas.
Sure.
I would love to live in Sanatown, whatever.
I live in Santaland.
Yeah. So anyway, so through the whole series, she's introducing Halloween to Santaland, and of course they're getting to where they of course, I've only read one in the series. I'll probably read another one this year. There's one that takes place. It's like Santaland and the evil turkeys or something like that, and they're silly. So anyway, so this was my favorite book because I absolutely loved the first book because it's a mishmash of Christmas, and you get your dose of Christmas, but you also have the Halloween.
Holidays.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah,
right up my alley.
Exactly,
as you can see.
Exactly.
So they're having a bake-off, and the theme last year's theme was pumpkin. The theme this year is candy corn, much to her husband, Santa, Nick is his name.
How shocking.
Much to his chagrin, because he does not like candy corn, and Nick, I got your back.
Well, I'm just saying, Nick, I'm with you on that.
I'm sorry, it's gross.
Yeah.
So but what happens is the week of Halloween, there's this huge candy corn theft. Who steals candy corn? Gross.
But the elves are really obsessed with this candy corn because it's a new thing to them.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny because
that enthusiasm
it's Santaland, so there's no crime.
Right.
They don't lock their doors.
They don't lock their doors, but now they're locking their doors at night.
Exactly. And it's so funny because she selected the ingredient. They get this huge shipment in. It was stolen from the post office. And so now they have to figure out who stole the shipment.
And the names in this are
and there was something that really cracked me up, and I wrote it in here. Oh, it's the SPX, which is what they call the post office there. It says the SPX buff has the post office has been broken into, meaning the culprit had just walked in since there's no crime and no one locks their doors. So basically, the culprit literally walked into the post office and stole it.
Walked in.
Yeah. So I don't know why that just kind of cracked me up.
Oh, it was funny. I loved all the names.
Yeah, Chuckle the elf, Wink the elf is he met his unfortunate demise in this book. Wink.
Yes, Wink.
Yes.
Poor Wink.
Yeah. So the elf names are hilarious.
Yes, they are. You've got Dash, who owns the
bakery,
candy and shop.
And he sort of swoops in to save the day since all of their candy corn got stolen. He's going to create candy corn so that they can. Yes. And except he doesn't really know what candy corn is.
He doesn't know what it is.
So he creates a candy corn on the cob.
Little ears of corn.
They're little bitty tiny ears of corn instead of.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just hilarious. Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is that it would still taste like candy corn.
Exactly. It still tastes like candy corn.
And you've got Deputy Ollie, who is, of course, the deputy. Constable Crinkles.
Love it.
Who is, for better or worse, basically the sheriff.
And
Ollie is his deputy. Juniper the elf. Salty is Castle Kringle's gardener. Chestnut is the best baker in Christmastown. And he worked at the Silver Bell Bakery, but he's opened up his own shop, and that's the first. It's not the first because the candy corn theft has already happened, but it's the first drama that.
It's a huge controversy in the town, or among the bakeries.
April, the name of Mrs. Claus. It's the first drama that April is witness to because suddenly there's this new bakery across the street from Silver Bell Bakery. Because Chestnut, who worked at Silver Bell, has opened up his own shop, Chestnut's Cake Emporium. And she is witness to the drama going on. There's elves lined up outside. She's walking down the street with Juniper, and they see elves lined up outside of Chestnut's Cake Emporium. And the owner of Silver Bell Bakery, Bell. B-E-L-L-E. Yeah. She's staring angrily.
Yes.
And they almost go into Chestnut's Cake Emporium until they see Belle staring angrily. And they're like, you know what? Maybe
Okay,
not
is
right
this
now.
the point where she assaults his shop? Or is that
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So you've got missing candy corn, and you've got a new bakery opening up, defectors from, and then the other employee, one of the other employees at Silver Bell Bakery, has gone with Chestnut, and that's Wink. So when they find Wink is the one that is our unfortunate victim.
Yes.
Poor Wink.
Poor Wink.
Wink Jolly Flake. Because why not?
Yes, Jolly Flake.
They find out the next morning that Wink has been found dead in the cake emporium, and it's possible that he ate a poisoned cupcake, which is a nice similar thread to the last one because poison was a suspect there.
But the weird thing about it is there's a puddle of water around him.
Yes.
That they can't figure out why.
We're like, where'd the water come from?
Yeah.
And of course that would ruin Chestnut's business if a cupcake baked there was poison.
Yes.
And they find out Mrs. Claus and Nick and April Claus.
I know.
A month in spring is what she's named. It's fantastic. They go to visit Wink's family, his mother and brother.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember his mother's name. His brother's name is.
Oh gosh,
I can't.
Smudge? No. I love that Smudge.
It's.
Yeah, I guess I didn't.
Dang it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But.
No.
They go to visit the family and they take a fruitcake because apparently that's the.
Ew. Do you hate me, Mrs. Claus? But then again, it is Santa Land, so, you know.
So Wink, they go and they bring a fruitcake.
Yes.
They bring the fruitcake.
Yes.
But it's at the family's house, the mother's house, that they discover Wink and his girlfriend, Dandy Redball.
Again.
Girlfriend of 6 years.
Liz Ireland is fantastic at elf names. 6 years.
Yeah. Had just broken up.
This is one of those dudes you need to propose or. Yeah.
A few weeks before, which I think he did propose. They were engaged. I don't remember if they said how long they were engaged, but
I don't remember. You know me, I don't remember book details. I just remember that I read the book. I literally can go in next year and read this book again and will remember nothing about it. I'll remember that I read it, but I will remember nothing about it.
I dated my husband for 2 years before we got engaged. Now we met our senior year in high school. But it was not uncommon for people in high school to get engaged. Mm-hmm. I knew a few people that got married right after we graduated. That's not what happened with us. And people were on him. When are you going to propose? His mother was on him. I'd have broken up with that.
I'm just saying.
Broken up with you long ago.
When you got Melanie, you better get on it and before somebody else takes her.
I mean, I didn't blame. We were young. I understood. We had talked about it, so I was fine. We had discussed it. I knew we were headed in that direction. So I was cool. I was in college and he was working, and
my girlfriend mentioned it, and I broke up with her the next week. I'm kidding.
Unexpected statement is unexpected. But I was cool. I knew we were discussing it, so I knew it was on his mind, but I wasn't in a huge rush, although I did ask.
Yeah.
He said, "What do you want for Christmas?" I said, "A PlayStation 2 or an engagement ring."
Which one did you get?
I got them both.
He knows how to treat a woman. I'm just saying.
I got them both. I did get the PlayStation first, and I thought that was going to be my present. But I knew
at that moment when you opened it, you knew we're not going to be together on New Year's.
No. I knew that probably sometime in the next 6 months afterwards he was going to propose because we had talked about it to that point. We had looked at rings.
Yeah.
So this was I knew. But yeah, people were on him. I felt kind of bad for him, really, but it's okay.
Pressure,
Guys,
pressure.
I'm aware of what's going on. And then, of course, we were engaged for 2.5 years, I think, before we got married. But that's fine. We were young. We
There's time.
Establish a home, and
Now, when you get to my age, you don't really have the luxury of time.
Yes, you do. It's fine. But yeah, 6 years.
That's a long time.
That's too long. So Dandy is kind of in April's mind as well as a suspect. And so is Wink's brother, because Wink's brother seems more upset that his mother...
Is it Chuckles? Is that his name? Chuckles?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Anyway, okay.
But
I'm trying to remember
Wink's
his
brother
name.
seems more upset that his mother is possibly blaming Dandy and Dandy's brother for all this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's more interested in defending them than mourning the loss of his brother. So April's like, did he have a crush on Dandy, this brother of Wink's? Or,
Mm-hmm.
So
it opens up questions.
Yeah, she's got Dandy as a suspect. She's got Wink's brother as a suspect. She's thinking, of course, Bella's sort of a suspect, but in the background, she hasn't really come forward as a character yet. Someone has. But it's impossible for anyone to think of this because a murder in Santaland, it's just so hard to think of elves in this capacity.
Mm-hmm. Although this is like this 5th or 6th book in the series, so technically there have been 6 murders in Santaland so far.
Well, that's why people aren't completely shocked by it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you can't have a cozy mystery without a death.
April and her friend Juniper, which I guess Juniper is her best friend.
Her best friend. Uh-huh. And I think Juniper, I think she's human too. I don't think is she elf or human? I can't remember.
No, I think she might be an elf.
Is she an elf?
Because
Okay.
Smudge is also Juniper's friend, and he's an elf.
Okay, there was someone in there besides April that's human too.
Well, Nick's family
is
human. But April and Juniper go to see Dr. Honeytree, and he's not there. They talk to his nephew.
Algrid?
I think it's Algrid.
Algrid? Okay, yeah.
Or Algrid.
I just know it sounds like a Harry Potter name.
It does. And he's from the frozen reaches.
Yes.
Past Santaland, it's their wilderness.
Yes. And that's like the bad part of town.
Yeah.
That's where the deplorables live.
It's their wilderness. So he's a little strange, a little odd, kind of rat.
Kind of goth. I kind of picture him as sort of goth.
Kind of goth albino from his description.
Yeah.
And he has a pet rat that apparently talks to him.
Yes. See, and this is what I was talking about. Yeah, you have to kind of...
I don't know if it's
suspend your belief because...
I don't know if it's like an actual rat that he can understand or if it's kind of like Bruno in Kanto and
never saw it.
Rats in the walls.
Oh.
I don't know if they looked more like mice, but whatever.
Now, there are cozy mysteries where the animals talk to humans and humans understand them. So it's not...
Well, there's a talking animal in this. He's a reindeer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Quasar. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Quasar is in previous books, too.
Yeah. I figured. He and Algrid also tells them that he doesn't think he was murdered by poison, but he was murdered. There's a lump on the back of his head. And he also tells them he saw Wink arguing with another elf.
But they don't know
the murder, but they don't know who. He thinks it's a female, but he can't be absolutely positive. But
because they all talk like this.
Yeah. And he also tells them that Wink insulted him. And called him rat boy, which wasn't nice.
And then Wink said something about somebody cheating him or there was something about cheating.
Yeah.
So they assume somebody cheated Wink.
You've got something written down here about scones and clotted cream. Why are you questioning that?
Clotted cream? Ew. Like, what is it? Like, when I think of clotted cream, I think of, when you open the refrigerator and you open the milk and it's nasty and smelly and lumpy.
So, I'm a huge royal person, British royal person. It's completely different. I've made, of course, scones in this. It's not like the ones you get at Starbucks and stuff.
Oh.
They're more like biscuits.
Oh.
When William and Catherine got married, my mom and I stayed the night at her house, and my mom and I got up early, and I made
at
traditional.
Catherine's house, at Queen Catherine's house.
No, at my mom's house.
Oh,
don't be obtuse.
I'm just teasing.
And
Queen Catherine? No, I'm just kidding.
I wish that kid go to England, Ireland, Scotland,
and live in a real castle.
Yeah, awesome. But I looked up online and made traditional British scones.
Oh.
Scones? Is that how you say it? Scones or scones? We pronounce it scones.
We pronounce it scones.
But I've heard it pronounced scones. So I don't know. And I made the cream. I don't think I made it correct because it was a little too liquidy. But it's just kind of a cream. I don't know why it's called clotted exactly. But we had orange marmalade and it was pretty good, but it's not like sour.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't figure it was, but I just, when I read clotted cream, I was like, ew.
Yeah. That's just
do you spread it on your scone? Is it like a spread or?
I'm not sure.
Or do you drink it?
I said, I don't know. No, it's not. I don't think it's to put on the
scone. Okay.
But like I said, the consistency of mine, I don't think was correct.
Okay.
But if I made it correctly at all, I think it's a little bit sweet. I don't know. I tried, y'all, and I haven't tried since. So to get back to the story, Chestnut is, of course, the main suspect, and he's upset that everyone thinks he's killed Wink, and they're buying cupcakes from Silverbell Bakery again.
Yes.
So he brings a whole 3 or 4 platters of cupcakes and sets them down in the middle of the street and just starts launching them at Silverbell Bakery. And
that cracked me up. Only in Santaland, I'm like, clearly groceries are not as expensive in Santaland as they are here because you've got snow all over the place. You can throw it, but no, he throws cupcakes.
He is not having it at all.
He pummels the bakery with dozens of cupcakes.
Unamused by this development in his life.
Yeah.
So Belle, of course, calls the cops. And they come and
because they're kind of bumbling idiots. The cops, they're not the most astute beings, creatures.
Not the best police officers.
But that's what makes them fun. But they're quirky. They're all supposed to be quirky people.
And Chestnut's thrown in jail.
Which is really. It's literally like a cozy bedroom. It's got a bed, it's got lamps, it's got throw pillows, so it is not a jail.
And the other helper leaves Sugar. Sugar is her name. She winds up leaving Silverbell Bakery because she says Belle is unstable and she doesn't feel safe working there.
Yes.
So
she goes over to run Wink's.
Yes.
Who is now dead, to run his bakery. Or Chestnut's
bakery.
Yeah.
So she's going over to help Chestnut run the bakery while Chestnut is in prison. Yeah. So now we've got Chestnut, Belle, Dandy are the 3 prime suspects. And meanwhile, this bake-off is still being played.
Yes, and this is the funny thing about their penal system in Santaland because, Wink is in prison. He's the one in prison, right? He's the one in jail. And not only is he in jail in this fantastic room that could be a spare room, they bring, he's a huge contender in the bake-off, so he's got all this invested in. So they let him go to the kitchen and bake his. I'm like, this is a fantastic. If I ever go to jail, I want to go to jail in Santaland because they let him leave his room, his jail cell, to go cook, to go bake. Yeah, I'm like, only in Santaland.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So they've got the bake-off still going, but judges are dropping out because they're afraid of, there's some crazy stuff going on
Exactly.
surrounding the candy corn and the bake off and bakeries in general. And the way it just, I don't really want to talk much more about the plot because it's really worth a read. And I mean, it's not that expensive. It's like $1.99 on Kindle.
It probably won't be that long forever because all these are well-known cozy mysteries. So I think it's probably on sale just because it's Halloween.
Yeah.
So if you want it for $1.99, you better grab it now.
It's really cute. It's a fun read. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. The $1.99 just for this story. It's just super, super cute. There's a cheeky sense of humor. And you might like her stuff. You might want to read more of her stuff.
Yeah, I highly recommend her books. I've only read one, but I really enjoyed her books.
I made a few, some of the names, again, they talk about, first of all, there's a coffee shop called We Three Beans, which is hilarious.
Yeah, cute business names, yeah.
And they've ordered some stuff from Elf Bay.
Instead of eBay, yeah.
It's Elf Bay. I found it interesting that April has been married before, and I'm guessing they go into that a little more in the other stories. Maybe just
possibly, yeah. I don't remember, but again, I've read the book, and if I ever pick it up to read again, it'll be like I never read it. So
yeah,
I can read.
This apparently is her second marriage. I'd be interested to know the backstory, and I may look it up and see if there's a backstory to that.
And all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. Last year when I read them, they weren't. But when I went and looked, all of her books are on this Santa series.
Yeah,
they're all on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have the Kindle Unlimited, you can read them for. It's not. People say you can read them for free. It's not free because you're paying a subscription.
Yeah,
but,
I did note that Crinkles is the least productive police officer ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's not very effective. But then, it's Santa Land, but I feel like
But they only have one murder a year at Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like he needs to get some training if he's going to start keeping up with these murders.
Exactly. They need murder training 101.
I did find one thing interesting. Nick has apparently two sisters. One is named Tiffany, which I couldn't really find a deeper meaning to other than Tiffany's. When you get at Christmas jewelry.
Well, yeah, the light blue box.
Sometimes. You get jewelry. But his sister, who is best friends with Quasar, the reindeer, is, and you could pronounce it however you want, Lucia. So this, this tickled something with me because when I was in school, we did a thing about Christmas traditions around the world. And I was part of the St. Lucia tradition in Sweden. Mm-hmm. So which takes place on December 13th. I don't know if you've ever seen the costumes, but it's white gowns, and the girls wear a crown. The main girl has candles in the crown, and I dressed up like that one year. So it struck home with me because I was like, hey, I know that tradition, but I thought it was cool that was her name. That was just an observation I made.
Cool.
But yeah, this was a really fun story.
Yeah, it's really fun. This was my favorite one in the whole anthology.
It did not go where I thought it would.
Yeah.
And if Brett wants to talk a little bit about the third one, which I did not get to,
we're going to talk very little about it. Let's do a couple more little did you knows about Halloween. There's also a traditional Halloween bread in Ireland. It's called barmbrack.
Really?
Yeah, and the sweet loaf typically contains dark and golden raisins, as well as small hidden toy or ring, similar to the classic king cake at Mardi Gras. Tradition dictates that the person who finds the item will come into good fortune for the coming year. That is, as long as they don't choke on the toilet. On the trinket, toilet. As long as they don't. See, I'm telling you, I don't have.
As long as they're not Tywin Lannister.
I don't have my readers on. So anyway, yeah.
Illinois produces more than twice as many pumpkins than any other state. I did not know that.
I did not either.
The land of Lincoln has more than, that's a typo, 17,600 acres devoted to gourd growing. They grow about 37,500 pumpkin pounds per acre and then about 630 million pounds of pumpkins in 2022. And that's probably grown over the last 2 years.
Probably.
That's a lot of pumpkins.
What do goblins say when they worship in church? Praise the gourd. I totally just made that up.
I never would have guessed.
Okay, so we are not going to get too deep into the third book because Melanie didn't read it, and I can't talk about books like she does. Like, I cannot remember details. So it was called A Triple Layer Halloween Murder by Carol J. Perry. I've never read any of her books, so this is the first time. It takes place in Salem, Massachusetts, which is where the Salem witch trials took place.
Great setting.
So that's a great setting for a Halloween-themed book. Lee Barrett is our heroine. I hate to say heroine. It sounds like a drug. Heroine. That's just a horrible name.
Well, this was before, the word heroine referring to a female hero has been around long before the actual drug.
Oh, okay.
Heroine.
So,
in my opinion, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I don't care. It's heroin.
It's heroin. Okay. So she's a field reporter at the local TV station, which, of course, is Witch TV, WICH, which, of course, it's a cozy mystery, so the TV station has to be called WICH. So she orders a cake from the Pretty Party Bakery, but their boss, Patrick Duncan, has gone missing for the day. Nobody knows where he is. So the bakery kind of closes down, but Lee needs a birthday cake for one of her anchors. So they say, yeah, we keep cakes frozen, so we can make you one. So anyway, and this was interesting. Lee, it mentions in the book that Lee is a scryer. Do you know what a scryer is? SCRYER. Have you heard of that?
I do, and I
didn't know if that was a real thing, if that's something the author made up. Apparently, a scryer is a person...
They read into... It's a little bit like fortune, in a way.
Kind of.
But not...
And
they have to have a... It's not like they just take your hand. They have to have something to look into. Like a crystal ball, or
yes, yeah. It basically in the book. It's a person, because I had to look it up. They didn't define it in the book. They just said she's a scryer, as if everybody should know what that is. According to what I looked up, it's a person who sees things in reflective surfaces that no one else can see.
I would like to thank The Sims Medieval for giving me a little knowledge on scrying.
Yeah. So apparently, she can see visions, like if she looks in a mirror, if she looks in the reflection of a glass, probably in a crystal ball. So that was the only, I don't really get into crystal balls and scrying, stuff like that. But this was really the only thing that the book really got into an area that I felt was kind of gray. As she keeps seeing these visions, like when she looks into a reflective vision, she keeps seeing this vision of a cabin in the woods. She doesn't recognize the cabin. And then later on in the book, she talks to, there's a woman that works in the studio with her. She has her own show. She's like a medium, and she has like a late night show. So she goes to this woman and tells her, hey, I'm having these visions. What do you think it means? So the lady, she goes, well, it can mean many things. She said, but the next time you see the vision, you ought to go up and, like, in the vision, try to look in the windows of the cabin and see what you can see. So anyway, so later on in the book, she does that, and she sees in the vision, she sees like a dead man inside the cabin. So of course, during the whole book, this is actually one of the first cozy mysteries I've seen where it wasn't usually like page 2, there's a dead body.
Yeah.
So there's somebody dead. So this was actually one of the first cozies I've read where you really didn't, you knew there was a victim of some sort, but you didn't really know. It wasn't clear right away. Like you didn't know up until the end that somebody actually died. Yeah. It was just a missing person. And so anyway, so her boyfriend, Pete, is a police officer, and this story kind of mirrored the other one where it's Halloween and the local costumer ordered some new costumes in. Well, he ordered some astronaut costumes. Well, instead of ordering 10, they sent him 100. So, of course, everyone, so now there's 100 astronauts running around town. And, of course, gotcha. when they get to checking, Lee gets a call from her aunt. She and her aunt live together. And she gets a call from her aunt that their cat is outside just screaming and meowing a lot, won't come in. And so she said, I think there's something up in the tree in the front yard. Can you come and check it out? So she leaves where it goes to check it out, where there's a little bitty tiny cat up in the tree. And so they get the cat down. They call the police department, or they call the fire department. They come get the cat out. Well, and this actually kind of plays into the storyline to where they get to checking the footage at their house, and they notice that in the footage there's a guy in of course, a astronaut costume. Right. And I can't remember exactly why they checked the footage, but anyway, that's how they kind of come to the conclusion that they need to find out who this person was in the astronaut costume, because they think they're involved with Patrick's disappearance. And of course, there's 100 astronauts running around town, so it could be anybody. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So they're in the bakery. They go to the bakery where Patrick disappeared, and there's flour all over the floor. The kitchen has been ransacked. And so they figure out which there's a lot of footprints in the flour and the muck on the floor. And so they kind of figure out, okay, there's one set of footprints that doesn't belong to anyone that works there, doesn't belong to Patrick. So they, as they get to investigating, they find out, and this again mirrors the other story, they find out that Patrick is huge into gambling, and basically he owes all these people in town money, and they think he has disappeared because he owes all this money and can't pay, and basically his bakery is almost in foreclosure. Gotcha. So anyway, so that's kind of the crux of the story. They get to the end, and Pat's wife puts up a $10,000 reward to find her husband. And they're like, well, how can she put up $10,000 when they don't even have the money? Well, come to find out, they've won the lottery. Pat puts the general manager of their store up. Pat doesn't want anyone to know that he won the lottery, because he's going to have to pay up all of his money. He's going to have to pay off all these people. So anyway, basically, I can't remember the general manager's name, but anyway, he basically swindles the money, kills Pat, and tries to take all the money for himself. So,
and there you go.
Yeah, so that's the gist of it. And of course, cupcakes do play into that storyline too. So that's that story. So it was a cute story. I gave it 5 stars. I didn't think it was as good as, it was better than the first one, I thought, just because it didn't have all that yucky stuff in it. Yeah. But yeah, so.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So if you guys are
Halloween themed stories,
exactly. So if you guys are looking for I definitely recommend Liz Ireland's. If you like cozy mysteries, I definitely would suggest you to read. Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah. So do you think you'll read more cozies, or was it a little bit too silly for you?
No, it wasn't too silly.
Wasn't?
It was nice. It was a nice switch up from. Yeah, the last one we did was pretty heavy stuff.
Exactly. So. Well, and that's kind of why I wanted to do something like this, because we've never done a cozy mystery on the episode. Yeah, so I just thought it would be a fun.
We haven't done a whole lot that's lighthearted.
No. Yeah.
And this was lighthearted despite the murders.
Exactly. But it's because they're not gruesome murders. Yeah. So, and plus, it's fun to read seasonal stuff, and even if you don't really like Halloween, I think you could still enjoy cozy mysteries, because it's more playful than, so anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of introduce the listeners to Cozy Mystery if they haven't. Yeah. Plus, I wanted a good seasonal read. So, you got anything else?
I don't think so. Apologies for the constant scratching in my head. This wig is itchy, guys. This is not, I didn't get this at a wig shop. This is from like Spirit of Halloween. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whenever it was that we did that whole Halloween decorating contest.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, it doesn't look like a cheap wig. So.
It's just itchy, okay? I've got my hair tucked up under here, and I'm not real good at it, so...
Yeah. I got to tell you,
professional wig.
My original plan this morning was to have blue hair. And I went in to put... And it was like, I wanted a cream. They had hairspray stuff, and I didn't really want that. So I got the one that was cream based, and it was like putting glue in my hair. Like I couldn't, like it got to the point where my hair's dark anyway, so I need a lot in order to see the blue. And I literally couldn't get my hands through my hair. It was literally like putting glue in my hair. So I wound up having to wash it out. And I was so irritated because I really wanted to have blue hair. But anyway, and then another...
Let's go with the spray. As someone who used to spray her hair for Spirit Week, the green and the gold.
Okay, so I guess I need to go buy some spray.
You always do the spray from Walmart. It's just easy.
Okay.
It washes out pretty easy. Or
good to know.
You could probably do Kool-Aid.
Really?
You might be able to do Kool-Aid. I would look that
up.
Like
make a paste out of it, or?
No, you like dye your hair with Kool-Aid.
Really?
Pretty sure it was.
Does it come out?
I'd look that up on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, I will.
I've never done that. I have done the spray.
I'll probably just do spray
in high school.
I just didn't want to do spray because I'm like I didn't want blue spray all over the bathroom. So
well, you go outside to do it.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's why I didn't want the hairspray. I was like, I guess I could go outside, but I was like, the spraying felt like it would be easier, but no.
Usually, it's applied like behind the bleachers before you go for the football game. Outside is usually the best.
And I'm just not one. I don't like a lot of gunk in my hair anyway. I like to be able to run my fingers through my hair. That. So I very rarely even use hairspray. So I got my costume in, and of course it's from Amazon, and I had a costume mishap from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I've come to the conclusion that there is no such thing as a quality Halloween costume. I put it on and it felt a little tight up here in the shoulders, so I kind of went like that. The lining inside the coat ripped before I even So like
quality costumes cost a lot of money.
Yeah, so I'm like, you just have to. And I spent a little bit more on this. This coat was like $50. So I thought, okay.
I mean, it's a cool coat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool looking coat. So, but and that's why I wanted it, So I was like, and I felt like spending $50 opposed to $20. That would, but no, apparently.
I will give you a tip. You find you a girl who likes period films. You're golden with that shirt.
Really? Okay, good to know. Well, did you see my necklace?
I thought that was pretty cool for a vampire.
Yeah, it's I
mean, if you were just wearing it on a regular day, I would be concerned. But
I promise to never wear it out of the house. It's a little silver skeleton, and he's manacled. He's manacled. Yeah.
Yeah, he's hanging from manacles.
Yeah, he's hanging from manacles. So I thought
it fits for a vampire.
Yeah.
For sure.
People will definitely look at me weird if I wear it like in July.
Don't wear that. Just on a regular Tuesday.
Exactly. Yeah. People will. All right. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have a for those of you that enjoy having a little bit of fun on Halloween, I hope you guys have a fun Halloween.
A fun and safe Halloween.
Yeah, if you think it's a sin, stay home and watch The Chosen.
He's going to get us in so much trouble.
Well, I mean, anyone that has watched me knows Melanie's the nice one. I'm the mouthy one.
If you don't want to participate in Halloween, just stay home and chill.
Yeah. Well, honestly, which is what I pretty much do anyway. I hand out candy, and then, like I said, I watch Christmas movies because I love Christmas movies.
Christmas movies.
Yeah. So
watch Journey to Bethlehem.
Halloween doesn't have to be evil. It's
It could be fun.
It's your intention. Yeah, the intention of your heart.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed this. I'm not sure what the next book will be. We're actually recording this a week before we usually do. So we're not quite.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, we're not quite as prepared as we normally are, but we will have a book in the next one, and you guys will just have to tune in and see what it is. It probably will be fall themed, I'm thinking.
I think so.
Maybe not. We'll just see. So, all right. Well, we will talk to you guys later, and have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Bookish Introverts podcast, where together we explore the worlds within the pages. Until next time, stay bookish.